Hello, today I am looking at this book, the Officium Parvum, Beatae, Mariae, Virginis in Latin and English from Roman Seraphic books. And if you look just to the bottom there, the initials RSB, standing Roman Seraphic books. So I wanted to go through point by point. First of all, I wanted to say it is beautiful. It is a leatherette sort of cover, 2 ribbons. It smells like a book. It doesn't stand out as a unique smell, but yeah, I just hadn't thought to. It's a new book smell. It reminds me of textbooks, maths textbooks from primary school. If that is, I don't know. Never mind. Okay, but it is beautifully done. You can see it's drop caps illustrations. It has these woodcuts all the way through. But when I went to write down some notes, I was looking for the publisher, and those initials on the bottom are the only place you'll find the publisher mentioned. The title page is just Officium Parvum Beatae Mariae Virginis, and there's a preface, but the preface is not signed in any way, shape or form. So, it's a bit of a mystery, but that's okay, I guess. But if you were to find this book in a shop and then where did it come from? How can I get another copy? You might be a bit lost. So I think maybe they could have put more about who they are. But you can find out more about Roman Seraphic books. They do have a web page, and they're a Franciscan traditional type group. Yeah. So there is also no contents page at the beginning, but there is an index at the end. I think this is a European or continental sort of thing of it. At the index is in the order you'd find a table of contents rather than an alphabetical index or anything. So that gives you all the stuff that is in the book. And you can see at the end we have the chant part, which I'm looking forward to dealing with. But first of all, I've got some things on the technical choices. Okay, technical choices. So each book that I've got has to make a decision whether to go in the 2-column format or to have 1 page Latin, 1 page English. And this has gone with the 2-column format. And to even up the columns, it has chosen to adjust the baseline skip from time to time. So most of the time this is fairly subtle and doesn't sort of strike you, but in some places, can you see the difference? This is much more spread out. So that's the standard spreading out, and then in the English they've cramped it up a bit, and it's still readable, and there might be 1 hair's breadth of white space between the 2 lines when you take into account the ascenders and descenders. But it's anyway, if that sort of thing bugs you, you might want to have a look at a different book, but it does make for a nicely laid out page. Yeah, and you can see they've got lots of new lines in the Latin usually, and sometimes in the English they run the lines together even when it's a poem, but to save space, because English usually takes up more room than the Latin. So Latin is actually quicker to pray. So there you go. Most elements are repeated. For example, the Memento Rerum Conditor is the hymn that is the same for all the little hours, and Compline all has the same hymn. So some books, to save space, will just say Memento Rerum Conditor, see page whatever, 200 or something. But this one writes it out each time, so that makes it a little bit easier to use. It does finish your collects, so sometimes per dominum nostrum, Jesum Christum filium tuum, qui tecum. Some people just say per dominum nostrum and etc. or something like that, and then you have to know how to finish it, which isn't too big an issue if you're hanging around Latin prayers a lot. But it is easier this way. It's written out in full, and so you don't have to slip up on that. There you go, the woodcut illustrations. So it's split up into Office 1, which is reproduced in full, and for Office 1 each hour has a beautiful woodcut illustration. Also, the page before that illustration has a bit about the hour and some reflections that might colour your prayerful reflection of this time of the day. So it doesn't just stick to one way of looking at the different hours too. It doesn't. Some I got another book. There's another book called A Treatise on the Little Office, which has a whole collection of different schemas for meditating on the hours themselves. So a lot of them go over the Passion. So and these, I think each one does mention how it corresponds to the Passion of our Lord Jesus Christ. But this one, also in Matins, while in prison, Paul and Silas prayed and praised God. So looking at the Acts of the Apostles for things that happened at Matins that might help your recollection. It has those reflections for Office 1. Oh, it doesn't have them for Louds because Louds come straight after Matins. So yeah, there's 7 hours if you bunch Latin Matins and Louds up together. There's Prime with its woodcut and the reflection. Also puts in woodcuts to fill in the space at the end of a page. And then for Office 2, it has a woodcut to begin Office 2, and then usually has a new page for each hour. But yeah, with Office 2, it doesn't reproduce everything in full. It does have some things, pray the psalms, same psalms as in Office 1. It does that for the little hours, which a lot of books would do, because yeah, it takes a lot of pages to reproduce the whole thing. So woodcut illustrations. And now my next favourite part, the chant. So when I saw this had chant, I thought I have to see how they do the chant, because the chant is there's quite a lot of chant in the little office if you want to chant the whole thing. So what they've done is they've called it selected chants. Selected chants. So what have they selected? They say this edition includes notation for group recitation and chanting recto tono. So recto tono to me is one note, but when they describe recto tono, they've got pretty much just 2 notes. So Dominus, Domine, Dominus noster, quam admirabileus nomen tuum. Yeah. And then they've got, if you see a dagger, you go down. So prolongatus est habitavicum habitantibus. Sorry, that so they've just got protrugatus est habitavi. Yeah. And then as another example of a dagger, montes incircuitu eius et dominus. Yeah. So you wouldn't go to the trouble of 15 pages of chant just to show how to sing things recto tono. The following includes the principal chants employed in the little office, namely notation for the hymns, the canticle antiphons, and the Marian antiphons. So there's hymns, antiphons for the canticles, so that's the Benedictus, Magnificat, and Nunc Dimittis, and the Marian antiphons, 4 Marian antiphons that come at the end of Compline, or can be sung at the end of each hour, as you wish. But it also includes the basic opening, so your Deus Nagitorium meum intende, which is a bit, I'm not sure which one that is, but they only give one of them. There's a ferial one and a solemn one, and all that. Yeah, I think I'm used to doing the ferial one in my videos. There's not a huge difference. Yes. And they give the versicles, 3 tunes for the versicles. So that's usually in the videos I've been doing, I'd be either going Diffuses gratia in labiis tuis, the simplest one, which is the bottom, or the second one, Diffuses gratia in labiis tuis. But they have a middle one, which I haven't done before, according to more recent usage. Diffuses gratia in labiis tuis. So there you go. Okay, but turning those pages, I have missed the main hymn. When they say they choose the tunes for the hymns, they've pretty much just got, they actually have 3 tunes, but this tune on page 209 is used for all the little hours plus Compline, I think. Yes, yep. So, quem terra pontus sidera. So they just have the Matins hymn written there. And you look at the words in here, sing them to this tune. So if you want to have the different words set up with that tune. If you're having trouble learning it and you like having the sheet music, then check my webpage for more stuff written out. But yeah, if you're flexible enough, yeah, it's just got it one verse written out. Yes, and for the canticle antiphon, they don't. Oh, they do. They do show you the first line of how the actual canticle goes. So they have the avove. So that gives you a very shortened version of how this psalm verse goes. So once you have mastered all the psalm tones, the avove is sufficient for plus the little mode number at the beginning. So you have the mode number and the avove there. Then you can psalm tone things. But until you're up to that level, it helps to have it pointed, written out like that. So only the first verse is pointed though. And it's just a simple tone. So yeah, it gives you enough of a start. You can see my webpage if you want to see it written out a bit more easily. When I was making notes, I thought they just had the avove, but they actually do have the first verse pointed out. Like here's the 2D verse, so you've got the 8G. They're telling you which page, because some of the different antiphons use the same psalm tone tune. So instead of writing out that verse for each antiphon, they have notes on which page to turn to for the psalm tone. And it is a nice start, because the canticle antiphons and the Marian antiphons are they only happen once per hour, or twice, because they're the beginning. The canticle comes at the beginning of the canticle and the end of the canticle. Okay, but they're not too overwhelming. So it is a nice way to start. But if I was doing this, I'd really want to put in the Benedicamus Domino, at least. Like, just have they've got the beginning, they've got the standard beginning. There's enough white space in here, I think, that they could have squished in the fancy end, I think. I mean, they've got this whole blank page at the end. Yeah, so... yeah, because they're ending with a blank page there. So yeah, totally. Next time you do this, yeah, put in the Benedicamus Domino. Anyway, yes, so that is the main part. Next, I have what I perceive as possible typos, which is always very exciting. Usually I'm finding typos in my own books, and finding typos in my own books is infuriating, but finding typos in other people's, well, yeah, I don't know, curiosities that I think might be typos is much more reassuring, because yeah, okay, but anyway, okay. Now the first, I've only found two, so they're very, very good books from what I can see. But they include, okay, commemoration of all saints is this extra antiphon and versicle and quite a long collect that comes after the collect of lauds and vespers each day. So lauds and vespers are big hours, and this makes it even bigger. Yeah. But because this is making it even bigger, there's actually an adjustment to lauds and vespers to make it a little bit shorter. So does that make sense? So the old way took a little bit off this before putting a big thing on the end. Yeah. So the little bit it took off was, instead of the long collect ending per iundum Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum filium tuum, qui tecum vivere regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. They'd just say per iundum Christum Dominum nostrum. Amen. So you can see how that's shorter. So in the old books, they will have just that shorter collect at the end of lauds, and then the commemoration, which is, and the commemoration finishes with the long per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum filium tuum, qui tecum vivere regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. So yeah, you can see how that works. So instead of this book, instead of using the shortened collects for lauds and vespers, they're using the longer collects for lauds and vespers, like in the 1962, as well as, but they're still putting in the commemoration. So I think maybe when they were putting it together, they was, yeah, anyway, I think it's a mistake, but I could be wrong, because I tried asking a priest about it, not before this book came out. I just noticed that there was the old books had this shorter finishing prayer for lauds, and if you're doing commemorations, should you always shorten the first prayer, and I probably did a really bad job of explaining it. I did try to get an answer, but yeah, it didn't work out so well. So if you have an authoritative answer, please put it in the comments. But anyway, so that's a difference between this one and other 1915. Oh, this is pre-1915 one, but yeah, 1915 ones generally, yeah, that's how they go. And the other difference I found was in the Ave Mariae Stella. So there's two tunes for Ave Mariae Stella, and chances are they're both unfamiliar, because the famous one is Ave Mariae Stella, Dei Mate Alma, and that's not here. So the first one is very similar. It goes Ave Mariae Stella, Dei Mate Alma, atque semper Virgo, Felix Celi Porta, Amen. So there's 7 verses, so it's only written out the first verse, but you get the idea. But the second one I was trying to sight read, and this first note is in a different place, maybe not the wrong place, but a different place to what I'm used to. So I'm going to stuff it up if I try to sing it as written, but if I sing it as what I know. Ave Mariae Stella, Dei Mate Alma, atque semper Virgo, Felix Celi Porta. That makes sense? And the last note is the same as what I think the first note should be. But it's written as the next note down. And that's where I get it mixed up. It's a tiny difference. It's only 1 note difference, but if and you can check it on an antiphonale or something like that. But I did check with another book, and it does start on so in the other books, and it's easier to sing. I think much easier to sing if you start on so. So if you want to get a little bit of white out and move that note up into that space, then that will make it easier to sing. Well done. Okay, so that is pretty much all I wanted to say about this beautiful new book. I'm very happy with it. I love having the commemorations of saints in there. It's fun that it's in a thing at the back, because in the other one I use a lot is my reprint, and this one has the commemoration printed in at the end of Louds and at the end of Vespers. But I don't mind it being at the back, and it saves room, and it does have 2 ribbons, so I put 1 ribbon for that hour that I'm saying and 1 ribbon for the commemoration of saints. Yeah, so I think that's a wrap. That's all the points I wanted to hit. Let's see, the postage to Australia was enormous, so I used Planet Express. Should I make that? I haven't done very many sponsorship sort of things, but I do have an affiliate code with Planet Express, where if you do not reside in the United States of America and you want to buy a book like this where the postage is horrendous, or if they don't even ship to your country, you can get a US address. Pretty much for free. You get the address for free, and then when your package arrives at that address, at that warehouse, they have warehouses in Florida and California, I think it is. You can check their website for details. Then you pay the postage from their warehouse to your country. And so I think the book was like $30 US, but the postage like $40 US when I went to buy it direct. With Planet Express, it was like $5 postage to California and then $18 postage to Australia. Roughly, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was substantially cheaper. It takes a little bit longer, but it's pretty snazzy. And that's how I haven't lost any packages with Planet Express, even though I always pick the cheapest option. They have a range of postage options. You can use FedEx and stuff through Planet Express and things like that. Yes, so if you use my affiliate code, I think I get a kickback of $5 off my next package. Yes, so that might encourage me to buy more books and then do more videos describing the more books. So keep singing the Little Office. However you do it, this is a good start, and then you can look at my course on how to sing the Little Office and build up your repertoire. So God bless. Happy Feast of St. Anthony if you celebrate the Feast of St. Anthony, and I'll see you next time. Bye.